Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a back to school / work makeup look. I asked you all over on my Snapchat what you would like to see me film next. I gave a few different options of makeup looks, but this one, the back to school / work makeup, was by far the most popular. And I'm slightly surprised because there's more kind of heavier looks there that I thought people would like to see. But this was the winner. So obviously this is what I'm going to be showing you how to achieve today. It's really simple. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and it's quite close to the picture that was on my Snapchat. Obviously not exact because I'm not Kendall Jenner. But anyway, if you guys want to see how I achieved this look, then just keep on watching. To begin, I'm using primer. The one I'm using is the Bare Minerals Prime Time Neutralizing Primer. So this is more of a yellow kind of one here. So it basically cancels out any redness in the skin. The reason why I'm using this is because one, it's a mineral brand, so it's perfect for during the day and every day. And because it has the yellow colour and it kind of neutralizes any redness in the skin, it will prevent us from using more product later on. So basically it's really good for during the day if you don't want to apply foundation. I'm actually at the end of mine, so I just opened it and kind of took some from the inside, but just a small amount on your hands and then apply it onto your face, the areas that you usually apply your primer. Next, moving on to concealer, I'm using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, and I'm mixing the two shades Macadamia and Ginger. So Macadamia is actually one of the new shades from the NARS Creamy Concealer. It's in between Ginger and Custard. So anyone who finds Ginger a bit too dark and Custard too light, this is right in the middle. So I'm just going to apply this obviously straight from the applicator and in the areas that I usually apply my concealer. So under the eye in an upside down triangle, and this one too. And then the center of my forehead and down the center of my nose. And on my chin. And make sure you get the corners of your nose and the corners of your eyes, inside and outside corners. And then I also like to apply a little bit on the lids of my eyes too, because this acts as kind of like a base and a primer for our eyeshadows. I actually changed my mind. I'm not going to go in with the Macadamia shade. I just used the Ginger shade. Now I'm going to take my beauty blender and just blend all of that out. So because the NARS concealer has a lot of coverage in it, I'm not going to be using a foundation today. You can see that that's actually more than enough. So what I'm going to do now is go into my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Light and just a duo fiber kind of pointed brush like so. I'm not sure where this is from, but any brush that kind of fits in here. The Real Techniques setting brush is also a good one. And I'm just going to take the product on the brush and set underneath my eye area. You can use a translucent powder instead if you want to. I just like to use this under the eyes because it kind of adds a little bit more coverage. I kind of have dark circles, so by using this, it kind of gives me that extra coverage. And I also find that when I use translucent powder under my eyes, it kind of makes my skin under my eyes like real crepey and just really dry looking, so I prefer to use this. And I'm just patting on the product like this, so I'm not swiping it on to begin with. And by patting it on, it means that you're not going to move around all of the concealer that you just placed. Because this is a lighter powder, it's going to also help kind of brighten our under eyes. So if you're kind of tired from working or just from school, then this is a nice little makeup trick. You want to make sure you're getting right into the corner and right underneath your eyes as well, because they are the areas that kind of tend to crease, as well as your eyelid. So I'm not even picking up that much of the product on the brush. I'm literally just dabbing it once onto the powder and then applying it onto my skin. I also like to apply this just in the center of my forehead here, because this kind of helps to contour my face by adding a little bit of lightness. And as well, I find if underneath my eyes are really light and the rest of my face is just all one color, it looks a little bit weird. So by applying the kind of lighter powder here and here, it balances it all out. Next, I'm taking quite a dark powder foundation, so it's almost like a bronzer, and this is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Ultra Definition Powder Foundation, really long name, but this is in the shade Medium Dark Golden. I'm actually going to pick up a darker shade in this as well because I really like the formula. I'm just taking a really large fluffy powder brush. This one is from AYU, but any kind of large brush will do. I don't know why I put that on my head. And obviously I'm just taking the powder on the brush and I'm going around the perimeters of my face with this, so basically just bronzing my face. Because it is technically a powder foundation, it's going to add a little bit of coverage as well. And by using a bigger brush like this, it means that you're not going to get as much coverage with the powder, so it's not going to look as cakey. And it's also much quicker to apply it. I also realised that on camera my face looks way lighter than the rest of my body. I think it's just because of my lighting. I'm not really sure why that happens, but it matches in person, so just trust me. I don't know if you can kind of see, my face matches. Next, what I'm gonna do is something that you can skip if you want, but I just find that it helps keep makeup on for the whole day. And I'm using the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I'm using the tiniest amount of it on the same brush that I used to apply the foundation, well, the powder foundation. I swear to God, if you use this powder, your makeup does not budge. So I'm literally applying the smallest amount of it and just brushing it around my whole face. It literally takes 2 seconds and it will help your makeup last for the whole day. Obviously, you don't have to use the Laura Mercier one. You can use any affordable translucent powder. There's so many in the drugstore as well. I'm pretty sure Penny's have really good ones. I think it's Essence have a really good one that I used to use years ago. But obviously I recommend the Laura Mercier one, it's amazing. Next up for blush, I'm using the Wet n Wild blush in the shade Pearlescent Pink, which is almost like a dupe for the NARS Orgasm. I'm just using a fluffy brush to apply this. This one here is from Nima Brush. And these are actually really pigmented blushes. I also like to apply a little bit on my nose, just because I feel like it makes you look a little bit more fresh. And then lastly, I'm using my Sleek Makeup Highlighting Palette, and I am using the bottom shade just here on my Anastasia highlighter brush. I'm just applying that in the areas that I usually do, so on the top of my cheekbones and above my eyebrows. Again, this step is completely optional, but because it's powder, it takes 2 seconds. Moving on to brows, I'm first going to brush through my brows like I always do. Again, this takes 2 seconds. And as always, I'm using my Gerard Cosmetics Brow Bar to Go in the shade Blonde Brunette. And I'm taking the lightest powder shade here on a Inglot, I think it's 13P brush. And I use this brush and the lighter shadow for the beginning of my eyebrows. So basically this just kind of gives them more of a rounded beginning, a softer beginning. And it means they're not as dark as the rest of my eyebrows, so it kind of gives a gradient effect. Then I'm taking an angled brush and using the darker shade. In what way am I holding this? You can use any angled brush for this, but I put the darker shadow shade, powder shade, through the rest of my brows. I always recommend using powders for your eyebrows if you want kind of a softer and more natural eyebrow. Obviously, if you kind of have gaps in your eyebrows, then I'd go with a pencil or a gel. And then to finish the eyebrows off, as always, I am using the Benefit Gimme Brow in the shade medium dark, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, medium deep. And it's a really quick step. Moving on to eyes. I know the eye makeup look that I showed on my Snapchat was of Kendall Jenner. I'll insert the picture now if I can. But to begin the eye look, I am going to go back into this bronzer and the MAC 224 brush and apply this into my crease, so just back and forth like so. This will just help give your eyes a little bit of definition. Then I'm using a Zoeva 227 brush, using the same colour and applying that underneath my eyes. I always recommend applying even like a medium kind of tone shade underneath your eyes because it again kind of adds definition. Next, I'm going back into the Sleek Makeup Highlighting Kit and taking these two shades here. This is a Jane Iredale eye shader brush and I'm applying those onto my lid. When I'm applying this, I'm not going higher than my crease, so I'm literally stopping just at my crease. The reason is you want to apply matte shadows like the one that we applied first into your crease because it helps kind of deepen it. If you apply a shimmery or glittery shadow into the crease, it kind of goes against the theory of like contouring. And then I'm also bringing whatever's left on my brush into the inner corner of my eye, and by applying a kind of shimmer in here, it helps bounce light into your eye and it wakes your eyes up. Next, I'm taking the Zoeva eye pencil. So this is the Graphic Eyes eye pencil in the shade Glance, and I'm using this to line my upper waterline. If you haven't tried these pencils, you need to get them. They're really affordable as well. I'm not sure the exact price, but I'll leave a link down below. They are amazing. Next step is completely optional, but I just like to do it because my eyelashes are kind of fair and I haven't tinted them in ages. I'm taking a dark matte brown eyeshadow with an angled brush like this, and I'm literally just placing this along my lash line. In the picture, she doesn't actually have anything like this, I don't think. Obviously, it's kind of hard to tell from a picture, but it just works better for me. I'm not even bringing it like that much onto the actual lid of my eye. It's more so kind of at the base of my lashes. That way when I apply my mascara, I won't have any of kind of the fair colour of my lashes showing through. Because sometimes if I go too close with the mascara, it kind of gets onto my eyes and it really annoys me. So this is just easier. This also makes your eyelashes appear thicker, so it's so quick to do when you're using the eyeshadows. Next, I'm gonna curl my eyelashes. I never really do this, but it actually makes a huge difference. Okay, so my camera cut off there and I'm not sure where it ended, but basically all I just did was I curled my eyelashes and then I applied the Benefit They're Real mascara in the brown shade, and that is it. Okay, so I'm coming up a little bit closer for my lips. I'm using the MAC Pro Longwear lip pencil in the shade Cultured. In the picture, she's kind of wearing like a peachy nude. And this is more of kind of true nude, I think. I'll see how close I get to it. And then I also kind of fill in my lips with this as well. You can actually just use this by itself because it will last the whole day. And then kind of blend it in with your fingers if you don't want to use a lipstick. But for those who do like to use lipsticks, I'm going into the L'Oreal Color Riche Le Palette. And I'm basically taking these two shades and this one here on my finger and just applying that onto my lip. So, and by using your finger, you get like a really faint color. And you can just like pat it on so it's not as intense. Then I'm gonna go back into the palette and just kind of pick up these two colors here and pat them on top, because in the picture, her lips were definitely more kind of peachy. So this is the finished makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously you can, you know, personalize it to how you like to wear your own makeup. You can include more steps or take out some of the ones that I showed you. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up because it really helps me out. And if you're not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm also on a mission to get to 200,000 subscribers. No. I'm also on a mission to get to 200,000 followers on my Instagram. So if you're not already, you can follow me on Instagram. My username, I'll leave it on the screen here. It's just at Chloe Boucher. But that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, like I said, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!